I am now 1 year post-op from my ACDF surgery, and I am here to tell you everything I wish I had known before I underwent this surgery. I'm Amy Giaquinto, I am Mama Fix-It, and this is my ACDF recovery journey. I wish I had known the toll this was going to take on my family, especially my kids. My son expressed it a lot in being super cuddly and wonderful, but also he kind of crashed and burned at school. My daughter was, scared and worried about losing me, and she had a lot of fear around the surgery and fear around me getting hurt again, and was super, super overprotective for a very long time. My husband, this scared the crap out of him. Same with my parents and same with his parents and, the rest of the family. And something like this happened, especially as an emergency, it really, I don't know, it's just jarring to everybody around you. Friends, family, they were all like, "Are you okay?" And oh my gosh. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still here. Didn't die. Yeah, we're good. We're good." Just be aware of that, because they're going to have their own emotions, and that's going to be on top of what you might be dealing with. And I know that I was really trying hard to be strong and resilient and stuff, but also show the kids and my family that it was okay to cry and be upset and be angry and frustrated by the whole situation. We also had a lot of good laughs over random things throughout the recovery period, so I think that was really important. I wish I had known how much time I was going to spend on my back and how much dusty fans bug me. I would just want to put a shout out to my mom. She dusted our fan for me and she made it look so good. Every time I look at my fan now, I think of my mom. Thank you, Mom. The fatigue was another thing I wish I had known a little bit more to expect, because I feel like as I was recovering, there were days where I had slept okay at night, but I was wiped out during the day. And initially there's a lot of need to just stop everything and take a nap. And I'm not usually a napping person. I'm up and moving around all day long, but man, I'm telling you, after the surgery, and this was like months after the surgery, I would just face plant sometimes for like 4 hours at a time. It was crazy. Really, really, really hard to navigate that and parenting, especially when I went back to being full-time mom again and doing all of the running and the, everything else that you do when you're a mom. That was really, really difficult. It was a lot. And so just be prepared for that. I wish that I had understood the connection between chewing and swallowing and what you choose to eat and your mental health. I know for a fact from having done occupational therapy with my kids that crunching and chewy foods and salty foods and soft foods and, harder foods and all of those foods play into this like really crazy chemistry in your brain. And each food can make you feel a different way. Like some foods can rev you up, some foods can slow you down, some can keep you steady. And I'm just talking about their textures and what they feel like when they go down your throat. But when you can't swallow certain foods, you obviously are not chewing as much of those foods anymore because they don't go down when you do try and swallow them. And I think this really led me to look for other foods that would fill in those chemical gaps in my brain. And there's nothing like sugar, or for me personally, it's chocolate, to make me feel good. I started eating way too much of that and relying on that to give me the sensory feedback and the dopamine and serotonin and all the other wonderful surge of happy, feel-good chemicals. When I came to the realization that I've gained a lot of weight, I kind of tracked it all back to this type of pattern. And as soon as I figured that out, I started journaling and I started eating better. And it's not that I'm not having chocolate every day. I do have a little bit, I have to confess, because cutting off cold turkey just doesn't work real well for me. But it's a lot more moderated, and it's part of a very, very well-balanced diet. That is something that you should be aware of, is if you find that your eating habits are changing because of swallowing issues or just out of fear or whatever, be aware of what can happen with weight gain after that. This might be completely stupid, but I wish I'd known what the scar was going to look like when I came home. So let me show you. This is a year post-op, and it's pretty good. I mean, there is another little teeny tiny scar here. I don't know if you can even see it. It's so tiny. Let me rotate in the light here. Right there, I think somewhere. That was from the drain. There it is. There's not as much lumpy scar tissue under there because I've been working it like all the time to try and break up that scar tissue. Still have some tenderness in places here, and then I'm still numb. The nerves have been affected from like here to here. I also wish I would have known how long it was going to take to get the strength back in my left arm. My left arm is doing much better, but there's still weakness, and I don't know if there will always be weakness, but it's still progressively weaker than my right. But I'm working on it, and that's why I wanted to get to the gym and do rock climbing, because rock climbing uses all the upper body strength and your back muscles. And I feel like overall, if you're climbing on a rope, it's pretty safe. And, you know, as long as you're in a gym and your belay partner is really on it. And of course, I'm not doing any crazy like jumping moves or anything like that. The things that have helped the most with me getting through this year, of course, was having the wonderful family and friend support. But even beyond that, dealing with my own mental health, it's been journaling and creating small, very achievable goals that can be achieved in the short term. And then, of course, getting a lot more exercise. You know, a lot of times when we're feeling sad and depressed about the things we can and can't do, or when we're in the recovery period and we can't do the things we want to do, it's really easy to hibernate and to kind of go into your own space, or even to go into your devices and disappear into like the land of TikTok or Facebook or email or doom scrolling headlines and all of that. But what I found really helped way more than anything was getting out and going for a walk, going to talk to my neighbors, you know, just movement, exercise, any kind of exercise. The one other thing I wish I had realized is just how close I would become to a lot of the physical therapists that I've been seeing for the last 10 months. We have laughed together, we have shared tragic stories together, and these people now feel like friends. And now that I'm moving on to do a lot of my PT on my own, I miss seeing them and I miss those interactions. And so I feel like there's a piece of my day that is missing now. And I know it'll be fine, and I know I'll move on, and I know I can always like go and take them a special treat or something like that. But they were very special, and they became very beloved people in my life for the 10 months that I was doing physical therapy. And I can't express my gratitude enough. And also need to acknowledge that, you know, now that those relationships are something that will represent the past, acknowledge that, know it, be grateful for it, and use your journal when you feel sad, and start creating other relationships with other people so that you don't feel quite so lonely. As many of you know, this has been a really difficult recovery in terms of the fact that it seems to have triggered a lot of other issues in my body. So I wish I had known just how difficult from head to toe this would be on my entire body. Now I have fibromyalgia, undifferentiated connective tissue disease, scoliosis, hypermobility, and I think all of that played a huge role because, of course, when I had C5 through C7 fused, I did not have a curve in my neck. My neck was pretty much straight. So when they fused it, they had to move things around. So now I have an actual curve in my spine like I should, but that's not what my body was used to for, you know, however many years, I guess for my entire life, right? So that took a lot of adaptation, I believe, and I know that that was overlooked and often gets overlooked by the medical community because, you know, you're looking at moving things, even if it's just millimeters. There's a lot of connective tissue and nerves and stuff that get pulled on and, you know, mushed around or whatever, especially after the surgery. And that takes a lot of time to heal. So also realigning your spine, I mean, head to toe, it kind of really does affect everything down the food chain. So with this surgery, I had the ankle problem where I had the tendon jumping out of the notch on the left ankle. And then I have had elbow issues. I've had shoulder issues. I had my jaw dislocated last week. And so that was fun. I was just eating an apple and that popped out. I also wish I had known that the physical therapy exercises that I have been doing are going to be a part of my daily life from here on out. And that's because if I don't do them and if I'm not constantly working on stretching and strengthening, pretty much my whole body, but really focusing on these neck muscles, that's when I get those brutal headaches. And that's also when I get some numbness and tingling right around the big vertebra down here. I don't think you can see it, but anyway, that's like C7. And so I can have some of that spreading, fiery, tingly numbness back there, which is really uncomfortable, but completely treatable with the PT exercises. I also wish that I had known just how stiff the neck brace was going to leave my collarbone region and my shoulders. That has been the biggest lingering issue, aside from my swallowing problems, that I have had. I've been having this problem forever. We did do a cortisone shot in this AC joint up here, and that seemed to help a little bit initially. But now I'm still feeling this really tight muscle stuff in here, and it's actually kind of painful. Ironically, I was at a breathing seminar for martial artists over the weekend, and the sensei teaching it told us to get into kind of a child's pose position. And then instead of putting your hands out front, to wrap them around your legs. He said to focus on breathing from like your belly all the way on up. And when I did that, it hurt so bad up through from here, this collarbone region, all the way up through my neck. And I actually had a headache. And so I think that was telling me a lot about the connective tissue just being stuck up there. And that breathing exercise was actually something that really helped me loosen up those muscles. So let me show you what it is exactly, so that if you're having this trouble, you can do it as well. So let's do that real fast. If you're able to, just get into kind of child's pose like this, right? But you're gonna wrap your arms kind of around your legs. I need to take my glasses off before I smash them into the carpet. Now you're gonna kind of tuck into this position, and then you're just gonna take a deep breath through your nose and hold it. And then you're just going to exhale nice and slow. And if you do that a few times, like I'm kind of holding myself down, so I'm putting a lot of pressure on my belly and my diaphragm. And if you do that, you can force more of the air up into the higher part of your lungs, and that seems to help open up this chest region. You can also do it with your hands out. Same thing, repeat the same process. Inhale, exhale. It feels really good, and it's really super helpful for opening up that area that nobody else has been able to open up or get moving. For anyone going through this, I want you to know that you can make it, you can get through it. Like, you have really severe symptoms, totally do it. It is worth it. It's just a long journey, so just beware. If anybody out there is kind of on the fence with having the surgery and your symptoms aren't super severe, my recommendation, and I am not a doctor, is to try everything possible to avoid the surgery if you can. So lots of physical therapy, and be really, really, really consistent with doing your physical therapy exercises at home. Try massage, try, acupuncture, try cupping, try whatever you can, because this is definitely a long journey. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and you know what? Soon I will be re-releasing my weight loss book. So if you'd like, you can go over to my website and sign up, subscribe, and I will keep you in the loop on that and my other fun projects. Well, I hope that was helpful for you. And for those of you considering ACDF surgery, I wish you all the best. I'm Amy Giaquinto. I am Mama Fix It. If you like my episodes, please hit that like button and subscribe. Drop me some comments below. Let me know about your surgeries and let me know how you do after your surgery. I always love to hear from you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.